It's a tale of two halves. I mean, possession may be even.
Game of football
it was a great game of football.
It was an incredible game of football.
Great game of football. Missed penalty out in Miami. Group A standings, where they are right now. Look at that. Ahly, Inter Miami, Porto and Palmeiras, who drew 0-0. We have a four-way tie at first, and Inter Miami, against all odds, is still alive in the Club World Cup. We're going to keep it in Miami. We're going to welcome Alexis Nunez, who, listen, Alexis, I follow you on social. You've been everywhere. At least tell me you're staying cool and well hydrated. How are you?
He follows you.
Yeah, he better follow me. But Herc, you're not that far behind. I mean, we were literally just in North Carolina for TSC, burning in the sun. And now I can confirm that I am here in Miami, also burning in the sun. But I'm bouncing back and forth from Miami to Fort Lauderdale to West Palm Beach. And then tomorrow, the most magical place on earth known as Orlando.
There we go.
Because of Disney, of course.
There we go. Hey, Alexis, listen, I'm a believer in the Club World Cup. It's a tournament that I played in before. But I was very skeptical about this Club World Cup, especially the opener. Ahly, I know it's an Egyptian powerhouse against Inter Miami. I know it's Messi. But I was having doubts about what the vibe would be if people would show up. What was it like? You were there at Hard Rock Stadium.
Yeah, Herc, you're not the only one that was having skeptical vibes heading into this. I was honestly as well, because when we arrived, even in Orlando to start our coverage of Bayern Munich, who got here a little earlier than some of the other heavy hitters like Real Madrid, who only arrived yesterday, I really didn't notice that much signage. I didn't really notice that many promos. I didn't really feel the vibe in the city. And I figured, you know what, when I come to Fort Lauderdale and Miami, that's a little bit of a stronghold for Inter Miami. Messi mania. We remember the scenes of the Copa America final last year, Argentina, Colombia. We know that there is a strong Latin American presence here that loves their football. But still, it was pretty quiet, just a lot of people on vacation and going about their daily lives. So I was worried with all the reports suggesting that the ticket sales for FIFA were not going well. We talked about some of the issues FIFA were having and what they were doing to combat it, like slicing prices. Tickets that were back in December $300 plus US dollars now were being sliced to about $50, $20, even as low as $4 for some college students that were at Miami-Dade College. Just anything to get some bums in seats for this one, because let's be honest, Lionel Messi is going to take a pitch to an empty stadium. That's absolutely unheard of. Then we heard of some other maneuvering that they were doing, and we were wondering if that would happen at the Hard Rock Stadium. We heard that they were planning to close the upper bowl of the stadium, but that was only confirmed to be done in Seattle and in Philadelphia to kind of upgrade some fans as well to some closer seats down below to make the stadium look a bit more full. But when I got to the Hard Rock Stadium yesterday, I did notice a lot of empty seats when we got in, and it was pretty much 5 minutes to kick off, and I was like, ooh, this is not going to look good. But the vibes were there. I'm not going to lie. FIFA put on an absolute show, and then we could see the fans finally coming in. But it wasn't the Inter Miami fans that made the night. I will tell you, the Egyptian Massive absolutely outnumbered the Latin American community that I was expecting here in Miami. They came with a ton of Egyptian shirts, Ahly shirts, a lot of Mo Salah shirts. They brought their drums, they brought some other instruments, they brought their banners, and they really made that stadium feel like we were playing a football match in the middle of Cairo. It was unfortunate that the game ended in a stalemate, but I still think a lot of those fans were quite entertained. So overall, after all of the doom and gloom ahead of this first match, I would say the opener, at least in terms of the attendance, was a success.
I got to tell you, I am pleasantly surprised. I played in this tournament in 2010. I was with Pachuca, a CONCACAF team, and we opened up against Mazembe, a team from Congo, an African team, and there must have been 2,000 people in the stadium in Abu Dhabi for a Club World Cup, and it didn't feel like an event. So I'm happy. I'm happy that it did here. Shaka, you've been critical of this tournament. You questioned if it was just a cash grab and if the players were going to take it seriously and if the fans were going to show up. Last night, 60,000 plus at Hard Rock. Today in Pasadena, there was 80,000 plus for PSG versus Atletico. The players were taking it seriously. Have you changed your tune at all, or do you still feel the same way?
No, absolutely. I think what you saw, both in terms of attendance and in terms of how teams approach their respective games, in particular this Ahly against Inter Miami game and the PSG Atletico game, it caught me entirely by surprise. And I hold my hand up and admit I was very cynical going into this tournament as to how teams would approach it, as to how fans would approach it. But everything I've seen thus far, and I know there was one lopsided result with Bayern Munich, and Auckland, but that aside, that you will have those during the course of this tournament, just kind of given how big the field is. But when so far what we've seen, when teams are fairly evenly matched, you've had incredible games of football.
Yeah.
And again, I hold my hand up as one.
Still early, but so far so good.
Still early.
Yeah.
But everything I've seen so far has been absolutely outstanding, has been a joy to witness.
Giannis, I'm going to be honest. I didn't give Inter Miami any thought that they would do well in this tournament. And I thought Messi would probably be angry and embarrassed at how Inter Miami would do. And yet that second half from Inter Miami, from Messi, he almost single-handedly won Inter Miami that game. There's this stat that I saw.
It set the tone.
He was inspired. There's this stat that I saw. I want to bring out these stats for you guys. Do you know who the leading goal scorer in the Club World Cup is? It's Cristiano Ronaldo. He's the leading goal scorer of this tournament at 7. You see 6, Karim Benzema, Gareth Bale at 6, Cesar Delgado, Chelito Delgado, look at that. Ex-Cruz Azul there, and Monterrey at 5, Messi and Suarez at 5. This is realistically the last Club World Cup that Messi will play. The next one will be 4 years from now. He's got 2 more games at least. Palmeiras and FC Porto. Do you think Messi makes a run? Can he break Cristiano Ronaldo's Club World Cup record?
Yeah, I guess why would I be stupid enough to say he can? It's little Messi, right? I mean, of course he can. And when you say, otherwise, he proves you wrong. So, look, he absolutely can. I mean, it's not the time to talk about where he's going to go down in history because it's a preference, right? One of the greatest in the world. I think this first game set the tone, by the way. Going back a little bit, I wasn't skeptical about this. I think this is going to be premier club competition in the world. We don't like change, just like remember Champions League changed a little bit and all of a sudden we kind of started liking it and in the end it was absolutely tremendous. Everything takes time, considering the fact that you don't have the Liverpools, the Barcelonas, Manchester United of the world, because you have to start somewhere by rankings. Once you're going to get that, you'll see already how much money is available to the teams. You also see everybody's putting out the best teams. We're talking about players being tired, Christian Pulisic and some others. I mean, look at the PSG players. I mean, not only they're playing here, they just play for France. And, German teams, Portuguese teams. That
Dembele hurt himself. He wasn't available,
and all of that. And they continue to play. And you will see. Now, we can question when this tournament should take place and all of that. But every 4 years, this is going to be just like the World Cup. It's going to be unbelievable. By the way, we're going to see some bad games here. We're going to see some stadiums that are going to be half empty because the teams there may not be as good.
We could see the same thing in the next World Cup as well. These lopsided scorelines with an expanded field. Shaq, I believe you mentioned before that you think Lionel Messi is already the greatest of all time. So I assume 2 goals for you is not going to be an issue.
To your question, I don't think there's any question that Lionel Messi breaks.
You think he breaks it with Palmeiras, the Brazilian Giants, and FC Porto?
Given the extended format of this competition, I don't think there's any doubt that Lionel Messi breaks it. But then I don't think that those records stand for very long either, given the extended format. As I mentioned, you had Bayern Munich against Auckland earlier today, 10-0.
Yeah.
How long before we see somebody pop up with 5 goals and 5 goals in
we saw, I believe, 2 hat tricks in that game.
Exactly.
So,
and then all of a sudden, 7 goals in Club World Cup is blown out in one summer. So I don't think those stats stand much longer.
Shaq, I know you said before that Lionel Messi is the greatest of all time, and I'm not saying I dispute that, but he's chasing Cristiano's record. And when you see Cristiano, you peel back the curtain and you see he's got the all-time goals record. He's got the all-time international goals record. He's got the all-time Champions League record. He's got now his club. Everywhere you go, it's Cristiano, Cristiano, Cristiano. The only thing that Messi really has on him is the World Cup and a few Ballon d'Ors.
It's a big thing.
And the fact that if at any point right now, at any point during the primes of their careers, if I were picking a team, I would pick Lionel Messi first. I stand by that. And while Ronaldo certainly has the numbers to back up any claim to being the best ever, it still comes down to at any point in their respective careers, if I'm building a club and money's no object,
Right.
I've got one pick, I still pick Leo Messi.
And we can't be hypocrites about that because remember the conversations, Messi, Maradona.
Yeah.
Many were
The
saying,
World Cup,
well,
yeah.
Maradona has the World Cup.
It had a lot of
He
weight.
doesn't.
Alexis, before we let you go, Lionel Messi making a run not only at this record, but with Inter Miami. How important is it for Sir David Beckham, Jorge Mas, Inter Miami, Major League Soccer?
Yeah, it is massively important, especially as hosts, because if you look at a lot of the previews, people just talk about Inter Miami being the one MLS team that's doesn't necessarily fit in with everybody else, that they're just here because they are hosts. And it's kind of a tough pill to swallow when you look at it that way, because it still is, yes, an MLS team in comparison to the PSGs, the Atletico Madrids, the Bayern Munichs, but it is one that has Lionel Messi, who, as you guys just pointed out, I mean, he's one of one as well. He's an absolute game changer. But they also have Luis Suarez, who I think is of a pretty good pedigree. They've got Busquets, Jordi Alba, who's hopefully going to be back for that second game for Inter Miami, but they need to make a good run to just kind of silence the critics who are questioning if they really have a right to be competing against the likes of Porto and Palmeiras as well. And I think that that's something that they want. Javier Mascherano spoke about it in his press conference on Friday and said that, look, he knows that everyone's looking at them. Even in that game against Ahly, he pretty much said that he knows that they are a strong Egyptian outfit. They've won the African Champions League a lot of times. And he says, look, I think we're underdogs. And I get that. But we embrace that. And we think that that's good because we can kind of slide under the radar. And that can actually work in our favor. We saw exactly how Messi sometimes just needs a little moment to completely change any game. And when you have someone like him on your team, I think everybody here, whether they are fans of Inter Miami or not, they are definitely Messi fans, or at least just respect seeing him on a pitch. And nobody wants to see Lionel Messi on a pitch and getting out in the group stage. They want to see him in the knockout rounds, and they want to see him in a final doing what he does best. So massively important for them to do something, not just for Messi and the aura that he has, but some of the other big hitters on Inter Miami, for Sir David Beckham as well, and just for MLS to finally get a bit more respect in the world of football.
There you go, Alexis Nunes. Stay cool out there, Alexis. I know you'll stay hydrated as well. Be well, my friend. All right.
Thanks, guys.
Don't forget, guys, if you want to watch more FIFA Club World Cup, here's the schedule for Monday. Chelsea versus Los Angeles, Boca Juniors at Benfica, and Flamengo versus Tunis. All matches streaming live on DAZN.